Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. As I'm sure you are all well aware by now, this channel always has been and always will be dedicated to the very best affordable watches. They don't just have to be cheap, they have to be cheap and also awesome. And after 7 years and nearly 1250 videos now, I'm a hard man to impress. But I gotta say, today, I'm impressed. Now, first things first, you saw the sponsored pop-up. This video is sponsored by Cadola. I will of course leave a link to their website in the description of the video. Never heard of them? Well, up until last month, I'll be honest, me neither. They're part of the Dartmouth Brands group, which owns Spinnaker, Dufa, AV8 and a bunch of others. And they seem to be focused on motorsport inspired watches, which is of course right up my street. They got in touch asking me if I would be interested in reviewing one of their chronographs, and I was like, yeah, it's okay, but what are those? And those are Cosworth, one of the most famous names in international motorsport, co-branded watch and watch winder sets, but each watch has its own unique colour scheme, and the winders are tiny replica racing driver helmets from the likes of Ayrton Senna, Niki Lauda, Alain Prost and James Hunt. But wait, there's more. RRP on them is an entirely, and I do mean entirely fanciful $1,300 US, but they're currently on clear out for $219. Now, if the watch is anything other than a total shitter, that's a bargain. And you know what? The watch is not a total shitter. And if they were giving out prizes for packaging, this watch would already be a 4-time world champion. Let's flip the camera and have a look at it. And the box I just showed you was only the middle box. It came in a kind of 12-pack case of wine-sized outer box. That one could have coped with 6 bottles, I'm sure. And then there's this. I can't even show you the whole thing because it extends beyond my test bench. I think for $219, I've never seen a watch package quite like this one before. It's not a $1,300 watch. I mean, that RRP is just ridiculous. But hey, for $220, the packaging is very, very impressive. If you're looking for a Christmas gift for a petrol head, and these are still available, definitely worth considering. I guess part of the justification for the packaging is the price, and the other part is the fact that it is supplied as a winder as well. Indeed, the watch is sent in the winder. This is effectively the box of the watch. And you should look at this one holistically today. If you can see this on a shelf in your bedroom, your man cave, your woman cave, your whatever kind of cave, then definitely consider this one. It's actually very, very nicely done. And it's a winder. I mean, a winder and a watch for $220. Now, these are all kind of limited editions. This is number 98 of 125. Not all watches are available. That will feature in the Moans and Niggles section later on, so hang on for that. Now, I am going to show you the winder in operation shortly, but first of all, let's have a look at the watch, because after all, that's what I do on this channel. And there it is, Cadola Cosworth. If you're a petrol head, that needs no further explanation. If you're not a petrol head, then perhaps you remember the Ford Escorts and Sierras that were stolen every 10 minutes in Britain in the 1980s and 1990s, powered by these insane turbocharged Cosworth engines. They also powered Formula 1 cars over generations, Indy cars, rally cars, pretty much everything with 4 wheels that went around in circles pretty quickly. Now, the watch itself is quite chunky. They refer on their website to the kind of look of the 1960s. It's certainly not the size of the 1960s. I measure this one at exactly 42 mil in diameter, 14 mil thick. I mean, look at that side profile with a 48.5 lug to lug. 20 mil between the lugs though, quite a vintage style taper down to 16, back up to 18 at the clasp. As size for my 7-inch wrist, average size wrist, 142 grams. Now, push-pull crown, but it still manages 100 meters of water resistance. That is a single domed sapphire crystal, and in the back is the ubiquitous, almost as ubiquitous as the Cosworth engine was in F1 in the 60s, it's the ubiquitous Seiko NH35. And we have another instance of that slightly awkward display case back, but with big printed logo on top of it. In this case, it's another driver's helmet and laurel wreath combo. They're really leaning into that whole motorsport vibe here, are they not? Never mind, we've seen the NH35 plenty of times before, I'm sure. 24 jewel hacking and hand winding Japanese automatic. Not fabulously accurate unless they're adjusted properly, but rugged, robust, reliable, and pretty remarkable considering how good they are for how little they cost. And the case finish is incredibly basic, incredibly simple. High polished sides, brushed upper lug surfaces, brushed fixed bezel. Female end links, you've got those outer links brushed, mid links polished. Decent sized crown, push-pull only, the Cadola C there, and as discussed, that is a piece of single domed sapphire crystals, so you do get quite a lot of that sort of signature distortion that you get from single dome at the edges of the viewing angle. And the bracelet is every bit as basic as the case, brushed outer, high polished inner, push pins holding all together, and a very, very simple clasp, again the brand name in landscape there, but only effectively 2 different micro adjust positions. The upper is of course pressed. We do have a milled scissor though, but yeah, pretty basic. So far so basic then, but there's actually quite a lot going on with the dial and the hands today. There is texture, depth and colour in abundance. Now clearly red, white and blue is the chosen colour scheme for this one. I'll discuss the reasons why I think they have chosen this colour scheme a little later on. Indices are applied, they sit on a ring of concentric circles, multifaceted, high polished edges to them to catch and play with the light. Beyond those indices is an angled rehote featuring printed Arabics for the hour markers. Inside of the indices we have effectively a minute track, so you do get a slight kind of disconnect between the minute hand and the minute track. And in the center there is a textured dial surface, very reminiscent of some of the spinnakers that I used to review on the channel 4 or 5 years ago. I guess they all come out of the same factory. One very nice touch is the date complication at the 6 o'clock, keeps it all nice and symmetrical. There's a nice red frame, again picking out some of the red colour elsewhere on the watch surrounding that, and the date wheel is sort of colour matched. At least it's not white, it is black in this case. You know, under my super macro lens you can see a couple of rough edges here and there, but it does pick out things that the human eye simply cannot. For the price, it's definitely up to snuff. On wrist, definitely not 1960s sizing. 42 is perhaps a couple of mil larger than average in 2024. I did have a pop at the bracelet, but it's comfortable enough if you manage to get the right fit. This one is probably a little looser than I would have preferred to wear it, so a clasp with a couple of micro adjust holes more than this one would not have gone amiss. But yeah, comfy enough, no sharp edges anywhere, pretty benign on wrist experience. Legibility is okay, if not amazing. The hands aren't particularly large for the size of the watch. They're kind of fairly simple swords, brush center sections and high polished silver edges, and we have a simple second hand with no counterbalance of any kind in the middle, no loom on the second hand either. Obviously this thing's available in about 10 different colours, so have a look if legibility is important to you. Pick the colour that gives you the best chance of reading the dial easiest. Moans and niggles. Let's start with the material moans and niggles first. I haven't shown you the loom video yet, and we all know what that means, don't we? That means the loom is rubbish. Like, really, really rubbish. Almost to the point of being pointless. It looks okay initially on the hands, but you can see how poor it is on those applied indices. When I turn the speed up, 5 minutes almost gone, 10 minutes completely gone. And despite the ambitious RRP of $1,300, this is a $250 watch. You know, it's incredibly simply finished. The bracelet is very basic. The clasp likewise. No major complaints. You know, there's no rough edges, no sharp edges here and there. Wears comfortably on wrist, but it's kind of like a $200 Orient standard of watch. That's kind of how it feels. If you've bought a San Martin for $200 in the past, you're definitely getting a higher quality watch there than you are here for the same money. And I did hint at the fact earlier on, 125 pieces of each, a lot of them have already sold out. So you won't be buying the Nicky, the Michael, the Ayrton or even the Nigel, but it does look like there's still stock of the Emerson, the Mika and the one they sent me, the Alfred? Now I must admit that had me scratching my head and turning to Google despite a lifelong obsession with motorsport. Best guess is Alfred Unser, more commonly known as Al Unser, who I believe used Cosworth engines at Indy in the mid-70s. So at this stage of the game and at those prices, I guess beggars can't be choosers. At least there are 3 different models still to pick from. But this watch has one secret weapon that we haven't talked about yet. That being, of course, the winder. I did say you had to look at this as a package. The watch itself is fine for $220. It's not bad at all, in fact. The value in this package comes if you see value in this winder. If that would look cool on a shelf somewhere, then go for it. It's a half decent winder as well. You can flip the visor here if you want to, or you flip the whole lid. 4 different settings. Clockwise, anti-clockwise, or both. No speed settings and a switch at the back. Not too noisy either, particularly when you close the lid of the helmet. So there you have it. I'm still not 100% convinced who Alfred is or was, but I don't care that much. If you have a vague interest in motorsport and you don't mind a 42, $220 for what you're getting here is really pretty good, and the size of the box makes it a truly impressive Christmas gift for that price. Grab one before they sell out entirely. Talking of which, why not check out a review of one of 2 Spinnakers that did entirely that. They sold out. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you again in the next one.